Kunal, are you there? I am not able to share my screen. I don't know. Is there any permission that has to be given?
No, it's already been given. You can share your screen.
I'm just trying, but I am able to record it. Breakout participant, I can see security, but I can't share my screen.
So I think you have all the access rights with you.
Mm. Let me do one thing. Let me rejoin. Okay.
Okay.
Mhm. Cool. Now I can basically share my screen. I guess you all can see my screen. So start. So until so far, so I'm starting it. So until so far, we have only gone through the basics of Python. And one of the important part of Python was like different type of variables, data type, okay, typecastings and all. Okay. Now, the other part of the data, which is very much heavily kind of used, which is basically the string variables. Okay. The string variables are something that we use it on a daily basis in Python. Okay. Like in our regular data. Now, need not to be necessary that we have always this data is in a string format. Mostly in data engineering, the data has a multiple different formats. Okay, like quasi-structure, semi-structure, unstructured, and then you have a structured information. Okay, so mostly you will get semi to quasi. Okay, there are only few organizations who are completely working on unstructured data, like your Google Maps. Okay, your image related stuffs. Okay, so not everybody is working in this space because there is a lot of risk in working in this space. Risk in the sense your accuracy, okay, your cost to develop that kind of system has all interlinked. Okay, and also it is very costly to store the information. So a single image can pile up to your 3 to 4 MBs. Okay, nowadays, if you see completely unstructured data, a single image is somewhere around 2 to 3 MBs nowadays. Okay. Now, in order to store this sort of information, there is kind of a huge amount of memory required. Okay, and you just imagine 2 to 3 MB of string values or numerical values or structured data is quite huge, quite large, right? So that makes a lot of difference in terms of your cost. Okay, but yes, if the company's business model is somehow related to the image related stuff, okay, then obviously it is one of the primary need to store those kind of information. But majorly what we will be looking ahead with today we will not go for something unstructured, but mostly with structured information. But unstructured has no definition like it has no proper definition like only image has to be unstructured or a music has to be unstructured or a voice has to be unstructured. Okay, a given text can also be very unstructured. Okay, where you don't have any corresponding you like a log files. Okay, in data engineering one of the important concept is logs. Okay, every frameworks generates a log file. Okay, so primarily in data engineers there is two type of job role comes into the picture. Okay, one is one who build the algorithms, okay, the logics. The other side is algorithms using the different frameworks. Okay, it can be a Spark, okay, it can be your Airflow, Kafka, based upon where is the demand and what you are doing. Okay. The next aspect is analyst. Okay, analyst role. So what does this analyst do is, if some of the framework fails, then it creates a ticket, and then the analyst has to understand that which part of this framework is not working properly and what is the reason. Let's say you have created an algorithm which doesn't accept any number, or which doesn't accept a string, and you forgot to give a logic of try catch. Try catch means error exceptions. Okay, you forgot to kind of add a error exception module over there. So then again you need to go back to the base code, and then you need to again modify the patch, and then you need to release the patch. Okay, so these things happens because not every time in all the test cases also, because this is not a kind of a traditional way of developing software. So in software we go with kind of building a query, and then we go kind of building entire architecture first, right? And then we go with mostly with developing that architecture, and then we have a testing team who sits over there and then do a corresponding test on those code. So this is not traditional way that data engineering team works. Okay, because it is quite discrete. Data engineering team is quite discrete, like it is being molded based upon the requirement of the business. Okay, so some part of the business is dealing with the media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, or any such given media platforms, where you want to store all the information or posts or images, okay, comments, all of these all of these into your data warehouse. Okay, so these are some fundamental things that the organization do. Okay, and similarly, if data engineers are also plotted in like mining the information. Okay, you have a warehouse. Now you need you need to pull the information which are quite relevant, or which are kind of quite in regular use. So those kind of strategy what data engineers plays. So for that you need framework support, as well as you need an understanding of different type of informations. Okay, so starting from image as well as your text related data. So image and all these are highly unstructured, which we will be talking in our later phase of our entire course. But primarily now, as we are learning Python, we are at a very basic level. So we will be focusing on to like what the text related information does for us. Okay, so a text related information can be structured data. Mostly it is structured. Okay, text related information are mostly structured. Use cases are mostly related with banking sectors. Okay, banking and financial sectors. Okay, you have a lot of information for a particular person. Okay, you have entire records after records. Okay, every minute, second transactions you have it, right? And you want to collate all of this information and figure out that which are the fraud transaction a person has made. Okay, or let's say we have some billion customers, State Bank of India. Okay, it's having a billion base customer. Okay, any foreign bank also you can take it. Okay, just I'm taking because Indian population is quite high. So State Bank is one of the largest bank, right? And almost from every home in India, like everybody have that an account over there in State Bank, irrespective of any other banks you have or not, right? So that is what has been seen so far, and the amount of data they generate, like huge amount of data, because everybody is having an account. Almost every house in India is having an account over there, and at the same time every minutes and transactions are getting stored nowadays. And if you want to figure out that what are the fraud or what are the fake transaction happened, okay, so many of these banking companies are now doing it to figure out that what are the fake transaction happening, so that they can create a better process in giving loans. Okay, better process in kind of understanding the overall net transaction of a particular, or net value add they're giving to the banks. Okay, like somebody is just having a money offline, then they are transferring it online, just putting money from one account to another, again back from that account to another account. So ultimately then the people are just using the system to make certain calls, okay, of their personal calls, in fact. So the banking sector is also working on those aspects, okay, specifically for improving their loans. These cases happens very frequently while some businessman is trying to work on a very large capacity loans. Okay, so for that we need to figure out those transactions. Now, a company and organization, if you see specifically any big companies, right? They have daily transactions which are very huge. They're paying the employee salary and all of their business transactions. Okay, so many things are kind of aligned with it, right? So out of that, you need to figure out which is the kind of suspected transaction which has happened. Okay. So those kind of information you need to pull it out, and basically the first task is to set up that, to store that kind of information on a every minute seconds. Okay, so I will come to those architecture, OLAP, OLTP architectures, which are kind of again coming to the data engineering part. But I want to give some context to why we are learning it. That's why text is something that is very important. That's why string come into the picture. Okay, so let me go to notebook. So anything that we align, okay, it can be a name, it can be an entire paragraph, okay, and it can be anything. So string is one of the important aspect. So for an example, let me just Python part 2, sorry. Now, string is one of the data type, okay? So you can store it anywhere, like X is equal to just saving my name, that's it. Okay. Now you can eventually go ahead and access the values from string, okay? So if I just, I'm accessing the index of the string, okay? The first value is coming, okay? If you see the, if you kind of see the overall length, eventually you can do that as well. Okay, there are 11 values are present, including your spaces as well. Okay, I can see one chat. The chat option is again. Can you all unmute and just say if you have any question? Can't see the chat. Yeah. I don't know why it is not getting enabled. If anybody have any question, like any doubts, please kindly unmute.
Rishabh, I have one question. So you are using underscore length underscore method, right, to find the length
Yes.
of the string. So
Yes.
sometimes I see only just length function, like something like.
Yes.
So I
So
just want to know what is the difference between those two.
Difference is not much. Basically, it almost does the same thing. The difference over here is basically I'm calling the raw values of that x, okay, using underscore length.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm using direct function, okay, so that is, if I show you len of bracket x. So this is basically the one is the built-in function and the other is the special method that is being designed, okay, which is the raw method, okay.
Okay.
And this is basically the function, very easy to use it, right? So it depends, like anybody can use both of them. They both work in a similar way. But when you are calling this one, it is basically the actual thing which is happening in behind of this length.
Okay.
So you are using the same thing, but I'm using very raw way. So that's it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Anybody else? Any question? Any doubts? Okay. Now let me move ahead. So if you want to access the values, so you can access in some range as well. Okay. So 0 to 5. Okay. I have just taken the range of my string values. Okay. Eventually you can access in this way. So in Python, kind of, we can do a lot of things that we can't do in Java and C, right? So just using it in as a kind of a query, we can use it. That's why Python is so eco-friendly, basically. So everybody can understand in that sense. So here I'm using x of 0 is to 5, which is equivalent to using a loop and running each and every index. Okay. So that's the advantage over here. X of range tells me how many values to pull in. Okay. And even in fact, if you use the reverse, okay, you can use the reverse value as well. Okay. Like negative 5. Okay, so you can see that the last 5 values got pulled in over here. Okay, where I have used negative 5 means last 5 values, and in fact I can give negative range as well, like from where to start and where to stop. Okay, here it is like last 5 values just give me, that's the way. Okay, but you can eventually give a range from -5 to -2 or -3 where you want yourself to stop. Okay, so basically this is a recursive method that happens in other programming language, like the same thing that we are doing here. Okay, just with giving a range of negative values. Now this same thing you can use it with the help of for loop. So for I in x frame type, if I do this, it is just the same thing. Okay, there's nothing much, no difference. Okay, it's just going to give me one by one all those values. And eventually, if you need to set some kind of limit over here, then you need to also write those conditions, which is much easier with this range value. Okay, with range I can just say 0 to 5, stop over there, that's it, it will stop. Okay. So that's the advantage of using this particular technique. Okay, and eventually you can use loop as well, whichever you are comfortable. Okay, so you can do that. And you can also see condition checking. Okay, so let's say text is equal to data engineering. Okay, so this is the text that we have it. Now what I want to do is I want to see whether data is present or not. Okay, so you can simply do like this: data in text. Okay, just simple data in text. It's very explainable. Okay, the language itself is very explainable. Data in text, it is returning me true. What is true? In our last session we have discussed, this is a Boolean value, right? Boolean. So true, false, 0, 1, these are basically the Boolean values. So this true means yes, it is matching. If it is not, then it will say false. Okay, it will say false, or you can say it is saying me false. So this is how now you can build your own condition. Okay, like if data in text, then print match is correct, else match is incorrect. Okay, so now I'm building the condition. Okay, but ideally you can just simply check by taking any string, or you can take a substring, and then you can match the text. You can match the values in text. Okay, so eventually you can do that. Okay, in your text file, it's in your string basically. You can also kind of check in as well as not in as well. Okay, like data not in text. So it tells me false because data is in text, right? So it is not like you can only check in, you can check the reverse as well. Okay, not in, but don't make it data equal text. If you do like this, data equal text, okay, then you will get an error. Okay, because even though data is present, but it is not equivalent to the string value. Okay, it is not equivalent to the string value. So you cannot basically do this check by just giving 2 equals. Okay, so if you are giving 2 equals, it means it is expecting the same string value which is present inside this particular variable, okay, called text. Same string value, means data engineering course, the same string should be present in text variable. So that's why you cannot give simply equals. Okay, that is not the correct choice. If you are confident that no, your values will be always in between like that, like your values will be always be equivalent to the variable value, then you can use it. Okay. Similarly, you can take the text.
Hello.
And yeah, any questions? Sorry.
Now this data type will be string, or which data type will?
Yeah, it is string. Everything is string here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rishabh, data type or data structure is string?
Basically, see, in terms of data structure, if I go with the basic, means fundamental of data structure, then this is basically data, we can say, is as type. Data structure is basically the theoretical approach through which we solve certain problem, like going with some way mechanism of storing the information, like array, list, okay, all of those. So primarily it is a data structure, but in Python everything is very simplified. So they made string as a data structure, as well as the ideal data structure like list, dictionary and all, okay, arrays and all, they are also defined as a data structure. So in terms of Python, if you say, then you are correct. Okay, I am wrong. But in terms of entire programming, if you say, then these are being basically referred as a data type, and but in Python we say it as data structure. Yes, so that's the explanation.
So data structure is a way that we store the data inside.
Store the data, or it's a process through which, or you can say like sorting and all. So this comes under data structure. How can you sort a value? How can you kind of create a different data pipeline from one particular data to another. Let's say you have a matrix of information, right? And if I ask somebody to sort a data and then tell me which is the highest sales in a given year or a month, okay, so the approach you are following, okay, like sorting, any type of sorting algorithm, quick sort, bubble sort, so those things comes into the data structure primarily. Okay, that is how entire computer science has been designed, right? But in Python we say it as, if you read Python books, they will mention everything as a data structure.
Rishabh,
Yeah.
actually, I am trying this, but I am getting some error. I don't know what is the problem.
Okay. Can you do, okay, share your
Can I
screen? Yeah, sure.
You can see?
You have an issue with your indent. I can see
Indent.
print. You have an issue at the top. First, yeah. I'll just scroll a bit up.
Yeah.
See, you haven't given the colon here. So if data in text colon, okay.
Okay.
Not here, in the line number 10, line number 10.
Okay.
No, line number 9 is all fine. Line number 10, you
Okay.
need to give colon means condition inside, means condition is there inside that what you want to do. Okay. So that is what is your colon, and then you need to come into the next line. Coming to the next line, yes, and then coming to the next line, yes, give a tab before print. Give a tab before print. Yes.
Okay. Fine. Thank you.
So how do we know, Rishabh, where the tab has to come and not to?
Okay, so if you just remember my first session, in Python, there is a concept called indent. Okay, so indent means for space or a tab. So anytime, like if you see the programs in Java and C, we use these brackets to write certain condition. Okay, means first of all, we write if variable v is equal some value, let's say xyz rxt, some value, then we put some bracket. Inside the bracket we write the condition, then print true, like this. This is the old style of writing the code. In Python, the same thing, we write it in a very simpler form. So if v is equal rxt, just in spite of these braces, use colon. Okay, whenever you are writing any condition, you need to use this colon. So use colon and then you just hit on the enter. Automatically Python will understand that this is inside the brace, so automatically a tab will get implemented. I haven't added any tab. Okay, I have just used colon, hit enter. Automatically Python will take that tab and then write print true. Again, else colon print false, like this.
No, I understood. Like my question is, like, if you see if doesn't have an indent, but print has an indent, again else doesn't have it. So how do we define where the indent comes and not?
So indent comes after, kind of like, as I mentioned, if you are writing any condition, right? So first of all, inside the condition, if you want to build any logic, there you have to give indent. Whenever you are defining any condition, like if is a condition, else is also a condition. After condition, your indent will come.
Okay.
This is for if else. Again, for loops, if you see my code at the top, Yeah, for loop. So for I in X, this is a condition for I in X. Okay, colon. Inside for loop, any logic I want to write it, I can write it over here.
Got it. Yeah.
So after every condition, there will be a colon, and then you have to come to a tab. Okay, indent. We call this as an indent. So you also need to understand, like sometimes you might get an error. In the error, it will show you indentation error. It means somewhere you have missed this tab, or somewhere you have missed this colon. Something like that has happened. Because of that, you have got that indentation error. So from the error itself, it tells you that why it has occurred. Cool. Any questions? Anybody? Okay. So now moving to some cool stuff that we can do in string, which is kind of predefined. Okay. See, there are two types of things that we do. It's one of the logics which are very common and we apply in everywhere. So those logics are predefined in Python. And some logics which you want to build it, that is not common, that is as per your business logic, as per the data you want to get in. So that is what is your that you have to build it of your own. Those functions you have to build it of your own. So I will show you the function part little bit later. So yes, first of all, let's take this text. So text is what? Data engineering course, right? This is our text. Now, if I want to convert this into an upper, so text dot upper. Okay, so it has converted everything into an uppercase. In traditional way, if you do this, you have to go to every values of the string, and then you have to go and change the lowercase to uppercase. So in Python, it is super easy. Take the variable dot upper. Similarly, take the variable dot lower. And this is very important because in text, in string, your ASCII values are mapped based upon the case, right? The case values, if it is a lower case, the ASCII value is different. If it is a uppercase, the ASCII values are different. As the ASCII values are different, if you want to match lowercase with uppercase, it will not match. Okay, so that is very, very important. Uppercase will match with uppercase will not match with lowercase. So any text you take it, you first transform that into a lowercase, or you convert everything into uppercase, whichever you feel comfortable. And then you do this string matching or anything else that you want to do it. Okay, so that's why these two are very important. Either you convert everything into upper or everything into lower, so that the string matching happens. Okay. The next most important thing is, in some of the context, there might be a white space. Like most of the time we might see, and in fact, everywhere, like in data engineering course, we have two white spaces, right, over here and over here. So in string, white space also has some ASCII value. Okay, so string is also storing those white space also. String is accounting those white space as well, because it also has some ASCII value. It is not null or blank or something like that. It has certain value. So that's why you can split white space from a given string. So you can do like this: text dot strip. There is some more context related to this strip and split, which we will be seeing, okay, in a different way, because these are very much in use on a daily basis. So we take any data, Okay, maybe it is a string, or maybe it can be any given record. Okay, and then you can basically go ahead and split the string or strip the string. Strip means it removes the white spaces, okay, from the beginning of the context or from the end of the context. Okay, so let me show you a different example. Here it is not much visible. So X, you can see X, my name, and at the end, after my surname, there is a space. Okay, so if I do print X dot strip, so and if I calculate the length, you can calculate the length in just len as well. Okay, I am little bit comfortable with the method strategy. You can see that it is reduced to 10. Previously, my X value was 11. Because of that, white space was also accountable, okay, after the string. So strip is basically eliminating the text spaces either prior to it or at the end of it. And this happens, this is very, very important. You need to remember this, because this happens while you transform any data from Excel sheet or a CSV sheet. When you are transforming a data from an Excel sheet or CSV sheet, okay, in fact, after completing the basics of Python, we will start with those things only. Okay, you might encounter that your some white spaces are getting entered within that particular data as well. Okay, like column name, in the column name there might be some extra white spaces, which you need to strip it. Okay, because otherwise it might give you a wrong information. Like over here, it is telling me 11, but ideally it is having only 10, including in between white space. Okay, if you remove that also, it is 9. So that is what the functionality of strip. Next is you can also do a concatenation stuff. Okay, so what is concatenation? Let's say you want data engineering course and you want something else as well. Let's say y is equal to career. Okay, and if I want to kind of add these both text plus y, so that becomes, sorry, I have to execute this here. So now now it becomes data engineering management, data engineering course management career. Guys, can you go on mute? Thanks. So this is known as concatenation. So we have two different texts. We want to add these two texts. Okay, means we want to combine this. Adding in the sense means combining. Okay, so this is called as concatenation. Okay, you can also concatenate. Now you can see while I am concatenating, it is having no such like there is no gap in between. So I can eventually create like this. I can put some pile up some space and then I can. This makes more sense. Now the gap comes into the picture. So you can also add in terms of that.
So one question here.
Yeah.
So how do we find out all the functions which are supported by the stream?
so that it will be easy for us to go through. Okay, if I don't know length is one of the functions,
Sure.
then yeah.
So Python documentation you can go with. Okay. And in this documentation, you will get every details. You can come to the tutorial part. Okay. Over here, everything is present. Okay. In fact, I won't be covering all the stuff, but I will make you ready as for data engineering, because programming language concepts comes from kind of your practice. Okay? The more you practice, the more you spend your time, you will be much more comfortable with programming. So that's why I will be making you a data engineering part ready. Okay, as you can kind of code those logics, and in this entire course, at the end of the course, you will be able to kind of understand everything almost. Okay, here you will get everything. Okay, like you can come to this string, and if you click here, everything is present. Okay, with examples also. Okay, just now I was giving the example, right? So it is also over here, concatenation. So everything is basically present here. So you can come over here, you can spend some time if you want to learn something more, okay, apart from what we are covering, because this includes the entire end-to-end Python details. And whatever change will get reflected version wise, it will get reflect over here as well. So this is the best place. You can just Google it out, Python. I am not able to open my chat window. I'm not sure why it is happening, but you can just go to just Python documentation. That's it. See 3.10.2. This is the current Python version. Okay. And if you want any other version that is that you want to work with, then you can go with this 3.6, 3.5. I generally prefer 3.6. So, and you can say end of life, EOL. 3.6 has become EOL. Okay, but we generally use it. Everybody mostly use it. Okay, my organization and me both, we use it 3.6 only. Okay, I feel this is one of the stable, because if you go with the, you can see that 3.10 is also stable now. Okay, 3.11 is in development version. So with every different version, there is some change that they make it. Okay, from the data structure point of view, from different compatibility point of view. Okay, from user perspectives. Okay, from the system engineering perspective, like how it is using the memory, how it is using the different other components of your CPU, and as well as your kernel and shell, right? So those things are getting updated, and everybody actually use it. That. Yeah.
So going forward, are we going to use the same notebook, or are we going to use any IDE for the development or for the
See, as we are learning, okay, eventually Jupyter Notebook is also an IDE. Okay, so as for the learning, I would suggest you spend some time with Jupyter Notebook, because it is more into kind of a scripting, as well as it gives you a one single line of single liner execution. Also, you can make. You can make also a multiple line of execution. So that's up to you how you want to use the IDE. IDEs have no constraint. I would be using Jupyter Notebook, and in case if it is required, I can use PyCharm. Okay, basically I use Jupyter Notebook only, because it makes more explanatory stuff. It gives you more explanation. Okay, you will slowly understand in first day as it is, or second day is it. So you won't get a clear view of how the data looks like. Once we start importing different raw data from a different sources, you will be able to get a clear picture in Jupyter Notebook, which you won't get in PyCharm, which you won't get in any development related IDs. Okay, those are basically used for developing the ML algorithms and all. For them, it is fine. But eventually, everybody uses Jupyter Notebook only. I don't see any change.
Sure, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. The next part is formatting the strings. Okay, this is a little bit useful. Okay, not as much in terms of data engineering, but yes, you can say that at times required, we might use it, okay? But not for regular data engineering purpose. But yes, let's say you are having, I want to book tickets, and let's say ticket price. Ticket price is something dynamic, right? Ticket price is something dynamic. Okay. So currently it is, let's say, 3,400. Okay. Flight ticket price. Now price print current ticket price is, okay, current ticket price is, comma, you will put the ticket price. Now what will happen in this? Whenever this value is currently fixed, okay, ticket price, this value is fixed. Now every time it will print 3,400. Okay. Now you make it kind of ticket price 3,400, current price is 3,400. Again, if I run it, ticket price is, let's say, 2,500. Current ticket price is also 2,500. Okay, it's still processing. It's still processing. Yeah. So what happens is, like, each and every time when you are updating the values, okay, you are eventually updating the variable as well. Okay. Now let's say if this variable is something that changes, okay, or it is linked with some other variable, okay, at that point in time, what you can do is you can apply formatting. Okay. So something which keeps on changing, where you don't have a control, it is coming from a different pipeline, okay, some X value, and when X is getting changed, then only the ticket price is getting changed. Or eventually you don't need ticket price, you can directly put X over here, right? So you can do these as well, okay, directly link that variable with your variable. So what might happen is you might need a formatting, like you need some extra space, or you need to add some currencies or something like that. So you can apply this format. You can create an extra space over here with curly brace. When you are putting a curly brace, it means that here your value will reflect. So my ticket price is 3,400. That value will be reflecting over here. So what I will do is dot format and ticket price. Now you can see that basically what it does is you might feel that it is doing the same thing, but you can apply the changes. Okay, what I mean to say is this value, if you directly want to put it, you don't need format. You can just put comma and then you can pass this ticket price variable. But if you want to do any change, if you want to add any currency, or you want to make any such change in your string, then what you can do is dot format ticket price and you put it. You are punching this data over here. Okay, so formatting, this is known as formatting, very useful, but not on a kind of a data engineering perspective. There is no much use. But yes, if you want to print something, let's say at every kind of data loading, you want to print a flag. Okay, so that you can do it with the help of this format. The other aspect is, if you have noticed one thing, I have given a value which is integer. Ticket price is ideally integer. So when I am printing this, or when I'm formatting this, it is actually getting converted. This ticket price is getting converted into string. Ideally, this is integer. Okay, you can see I haven't added any quotes at the beginning or the end of this 3,000. Okay, it is the raw value. When I am taking this raw value and putting into this format, it is getting into a string. Type casting is happening over here. Okay, data type casting. So this is quite useful. Okay. And you can create as many as, you can put as many as values. Okay, as many as spaces as well. And you can keep on kind of writing that. So I am ticket price, let's say ticket price for location.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Any
Mr.
question?
Rishabh. Yeah, this print, after that print, their current ticket underscore you didn't mention over here. Why it is like that?
This one?
Yeah, before that one, ticket space you given here, but in the starting time you given ticket underscore price. But this place you didn't put a
No,
underscore.
this is string. I got your
Okay,
question.
means
This is variable.
okay,
And
you are assigning a variable here, but here you are
yeah.
printing the text value only. Okay.
Yes.
Right.
This is not variable. Okay, this is this is not variable. This is string. Okay. This is just something absurd I'm printing. Just forget this. This is variable. Ticket underscore price is variable. Ticket price, this is string which I want to print. Similarly, for location is a string. This is not this location. Don't mix it up. Okay. I should write destination. This might not make you confused. So destination is basically string variable where I am storing this value Kolkata. And for location is what? This is my random text, anything that I want to display. Okay. So now if I run it for location Kolkata. Okay. So you can, as I mentioned, in formatting, you can pass as many as values. Okay. There is no limit to it. As many as values you can pass it. Any question? Anybody? Any doubts? Next one interesting fact is, what if I change this current ticket is this, let me copy this. So current ticket, let me change the situation. Current ticket for destination is current ticket price. Current ticket price for destination is this, but I am passing first ticket price and then I am passing destination. So you can say that the very easy stuff is put destination first and ticket price next. It will simplify my overall thing, right? But what if you have, assuming that this is a very big context, this entire context is very big context, so you don't know that, okay, how big it is. And similarly, these values are also very large, like let's say there are 20 such values. So how will you arrange? You will sit and keep on arranging? No, right? So the best technique is using index. So this is my 0 and this is my 1. Okay, so I will put 1 here and 0 here. Current ticket price for Kolkata is 3,000. One thing to remember, all these index starts with 0. Anything, any indexing starts with 0.
So if you have a third variable, then you call 2, is it?
Yes, that variable is 2. Correct. So this is not the end of string. I'm just giving you the basic concepts. There are a lot more things, lot more methods which are available in string. Okay, ready-made methods like format is one of them, lower upper is one of them, strip is one of them. Then you have capitalize. Let's say you have a text. Okay, like data engineering course. D is capital, E is capital, and then you have over here also management career institute, everything is in capital, right?
Only first letter. Sorry for distance. Only first letter. If you want to make it as a capital letter or small letter, any command is there?
Yes, that's what I was telling. So let me show you. Dot capitalized. So text dot lower. First I'm taking a text and then I'm making it lower. And then I am again making it capitalized. So which is like making D capital. Okay. So it is taking the entire text. So that's why I'm making the D capital. Okay. Next, if I want to make a rest part of that context also capitalize. Okay. Then what you have to do, you have to take the lower and then you have to take the split technique to split this each and every value, because capitalize starts from making a sentence capitalize or making the context, the first letter as a capital letter. So if you want to go back to this stage, okay, then what you have to do is you have to split this and then you have to make it capitalize, dot capitalize each of them. So this is how you have to build the logics, okay, and that is one of the kind of very common in entire programming, right? So let me show you the very important one, split. I remember just from this example. So text, yes, text is there. So text dot split. If I do this, it gives me data engineering course, 3 different text. Similar to kind of, for those who are from data science and ML background, you might know tokenization. So this is similar kind of thing for in terms of in Python. Okay. So text dot split. So I'm splitting that, and now if I make it lower or if I want to capitalize it, each of these values, you can definitely do that. Okay. So this is the technique. This is very common, split, like splitting each and every context.
The question, the split there, what it creates an array? Is that an array?
Sorry, it's a question for me.
Yes, I was asking you, whenever you do the text dot split, it creates an array.
So if you want to split it with anything else, then you can put the identifier here, like this.
When you split it, is it creating an array?
Oh, another variable, it is creating a list. Okay, so I will come to that data structure. So it's a new thing. This is known as list. Okay, so it is, if you want to store it into a different variable, you can store it. And if you don't want to store it, like just over here, I am just displaying it. Okay. So that's why text dot split. And yes, this is the different identifier, which is also another example. If you want to split it by commas, okay, let's say you have a sentence 1, sentence 2, sentence 3, and at the end of the sentence you have a full stop or you have a commas, right? So you can split that each and every sentence with the help of this identifier, and the output it is giving is in form of list. So I will come to that list concept. That is a different part. It is giving a list output. But yes, you can store it if you want it. You can store to any variable. Currently it is not storing, but you can make it in a different. Okay, so apart from these are the ready-made functions. Okay, lower, capitalize, strip, split, and there are many such functions. Okay, there is no limit, there is in fact no end. Okay, every version of Python comes in, every new functions comes in. But in terms of understanding and learning programming, you don't need to remember all of these functions. It is not at all required. Even I don't remember all the functions. Okay, even though if you work every day, only those functions which are required, which you are using, it is like mathematics, which you are using on a daily basis, you can remember those. But if you don't use it for a week, you will forget the syntax. So it is absolutely fine. Okay, you may not be able to remember everything, and that is quite okay. That is quite natural and general. You might feel that I am not able to learn the programming, but that is not the case. You are learning it based upon how much practice you are doing it. Okay. Next is, if you want to explore more, then obviously documentation is one of the important aspect to it. Without documentation, you cannot go. So you can simply go with Python documentation, and you can come on the tutorial part and reference. There is also another part which is known as reference. Okay, I will show you that as well. So you can come to the string over here, strings. Okay, and in this you will get all the different kind of aspects of string. Okay, all the different functions, whichever is available, you will be getting it. And you can come on this Python and you can see documentation, developers guide. Okay, now developers guide is for developers. Okay, now this includes many things. It includes kind of starting from your Python, the way the language in which Python has been designed in that way, as well as it starts with everything like starting from Python development, or if you have anything else to get it developed for a particular version, you can actually come and see over here. Okay, but at this, as everybody is into the beginner stage, it is not required. Okay, you can come to the documentation and simply go with the beginner's guide, which will take you to the basic stuffs, okay, which are there in the string and all other different stuffs, means available functions and everything. Then you have a couple of other guides as well, which I will be referring. Eventually you can also refer. Okay, you can go with like W3 schools, and you can come to this Python tutorial. Okay, so over here you will get all the different aspects. Come to string, you will get all the different aspects. Okay, so that's how you can learn if you want to learn more. And definitely you need to learn all of, not everything you need to remember, as I just mentioned. You can obviously come and refer it, okay, every time to these developer guides. Okay, whichever you feel that you need to use it, you can use it. Cool. So these are some functions which I've shown. Just I might be showing you very less, but yes, while we learn the frameworks, okay, while we write those codes in practical, you will be automatically using the rest of other functions which are important. Okay, which you will be automatically coming into those concepts. Okay, once we go with those kind of while we learn the framework, we will be writing the Python codes, right? So from there you will come to know. Coming to very important concept of list. Okay, now it is very important. Why? Because it has a relation with storing multiple values in a single variable. Okay, so what is list? Storing multiple values in a single variable. Okay, and eventually you can access, means almost everything we store in form of list. Okay, so if you ask me that list of one, this is a variable I am giving, and this data engineering course, okay, even this is also a list. Okay, and copy and paste it. List start with rectangular brackets. Okay, sorry. So it starts with a rectangular bracket, okay, and ends with a rectangular bracket, and all the values which you want to store, you can store in a list. Okay, so list of 1, okay, of 0, list 1 of 0, it gives you the first value, which is data. List 1 of 1, it gives you the second value. Always, as I mentioned, that data all the variable, all the indexing part starts with 0. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, like that. And if now what value you are getting, this is string, no longer this is list. If you remove this indexing part, then it is list. Okay, so how do you check it? Type of list. Okay, if you want to check the type, you will get list. Now, as soon as I am adding this indexing, it becomes string, because now the result is string. Here text.split, okay, this is string. I'm applying the split function on this text. So fundamentally it is string, but the result has brought a list, so this becomes list. This entire thing becomes list, but text fundamentally is a string. Okay, since I have applied this function is returning list. Function is returning a different data structure. Okay, so that's why it is very important. So here, like data engineering course, now this is returning me string. One important, very important factor you need to understand: the functions which are available in string can only be applied with string, cannot be applied with list functions. There are functions which are for a string, there are functions which are for list, there are functions which are for any XYZ different data structure. So if you are applying those functions, if you are applying string function in list, you will get an error, and if you are applying list function in string, you will get an error. Okay, so that is fundamentally very correct. Okay, so each of these functions have a different objective and different intake and output, means it has a different intake, different data structure intake, and different output in return. Okay, so list of 0, this is returning me string. Okay, now every time, and you can store mixed value as well, 1, 2, 3. Okay, you can store 89.5. okay, like this mixed value. Okay, so every time you navigate, let's say I want to see the third value, it is different. Okay, now this becomes 1, 2, 3, this is integer. Okay, 1, 2, 3 is an integer, so our return is integer. Okay, index return is integer, it is no longer string. These 3 values were string, so our return was string. Now this is integer, so we got integer. If I query this, I will get float. Okay, if I query this, I will get float. Okay, so that is what is your indexing does for you. You can also use range of indexes. Okay, so list of 1 is to 2. Range of indexes. Okay, 1 is to 2. So I am getting only one value in this between of 1 is to 2. If I use 1 is to 3, I will get 2 value, 1 and 2. Okay, third value is kind of a limit over here. Third value is limit. List also allows duplicate values. Okay, you can create duplicate values, means data you can have 10 times data, no issues. Okay, it is just a mechanism to store the information in a proper sequence, means you can keep the sequence ready, right? Like over here we have kept it, we have created the sequence. You can also pass a mixed data type, okay, as I have shown already, string as well as float as well as variable. So I'm passing the mixed data type. Okay, you can also eventually change the value of a list. Okay, how to change the value of list? Let's say I want to replace 1:2 with 1:2 is engineering, which I want to replace with science. Now if I see, okay, so it has basically taken in this range. Sorry. Yeah, because I have given a range, so science it has taken in range. Okay, so basically range versus range, that's what. Here I have taken one index value, now data science course, data engineering to data science course. Okay, so that is how your index value, you can change it and then you can pass on the values over here. Okay, with range you can pass multiple values, as I already showed. Okay, you can pass as many as values it is you need it. The most important factor in list is appending. You can append the list. Okay, means if you want to append the list, you can eventually do that. So list1 dot append, let's say I want to append engineering or something like that. So you can see that it got appended in at the end. Now, if you want to append, now you can ask me that why can't I append in the same position where science was there? Currently, it is data science course, but I want to make it engineering. Okay, so at that point in that case, you need to use insert. Okay, in that case, you need to use insert. So list1 dot insert, and you need to use the index value. So 1, comma, engineering. Okay, you can see 2 times because I have inserted twice. Okay, previously I appended this and I have inserted the next. Okay, so that is how you can change, you can relate with the positions as well. Okay, similarly, the way you are inserting and you are appending the values, you can also use remove. Okay, for removing the values. Okay, it is not like every time only you have to append it. You can also remove the information. Okay, so list dot pop. So I want to pop out the last value. Okay, I don't know what is the last value. So what I can do is list dot length. Whatever is the length, that value I will pop it out. So let's say how many values are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I am popping out the 7th value. List of length means it will return 7 because I don't know. This list can keep on increasing, and every time I need to pop the last value. So what I can do is list1.pop. Okay, this will. This is list1. Yes. Okay, it says that pop index is out of range. So let me first do. So how many values are there? 7 values are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. So -1. Yeah. So engineering got popped out, means the last value got popped out. So what I did basically, if you see, the length is starting with index value 1. Okay. Length is starting with index value as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But your Python always take an index value starting with 0, right? Python always takes an index value starting with 0. So 0 to 7 values is basically 6, right? So that's why I took the length -1. So 7 minus 1, 6. I'm popping out the 6th value. So like this, you need to build the logic in real time. And it is very easy, right? You just need to think in a right manner and right way. That's it.
Rishabh, I'm confused. Like, what was an error before?
Okay.
Why the error?
So yes, let me show you the error. Pop index out of range. Now why it is happening? List1 means this variable, when I'm calculating the length calculation is starting from 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So list1.pop 7, it is giving me pop index out of range. Index out of range means there is no such value of 7. Okay. When you get this error, index out of range, it means no such value is present. Okay. Then
How
what
does it know 7?
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
How does it know 7? Like, how do you know?
Okay, so list1 dot. So currently it is 6 because I have popped out engineering. So the current value of list is 6. Okay. 6 values are there. Data engineering science course 1, 2, 3, 89.5. There are 6 values, right? So if I do the length, I'm getting what? 6. Clear this much?
Yeah.
Next, list.pop, list1.pop. Now, as I mentioned, while Python calculates everything in terms of index value starting with 0. So this 6 will become what? 5, right? Because index, if you start counting with 0, then it will become 5. It won't go to 6. So that's why list1.pop, pop function is taking everything with 0, but list1.length, this function is taking everything starting with 1. So that's the issue. So what I did, length -1. So it is adjusting 7 minus 1, 6. Like that. Is it clear or still confused?
I'll work it out and come back to you. Still confused. Yeah.
Okay, so let me try to explain in a bit different way.
So what I'm confused is like when you say -1, it's taking up. So the pop, my question is how the pop knows that it's 7.
Okay, I'm passing the value, right? If you see the code, I'm passing this, right? So from this, it is coming to know that the value is 7. So let me explain in a different way. See, I have this is my list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. These are 6 values. Now there are 2 functions running. One is the pop function. Pop takes my code was pop, and inside again list dot in length, right? Okay, and again list dot pop. So this was my code. Now list of pop is taking what? List of length. Length is starting with 1. So length function is starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the count. Okay.
Yeah.
This is our count. So count is equivalent to 6. Now pop is basically counts in a different way. Now this entire thing comes to dot pop. Pop starting with 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now pop is telling I'm not getting 6. Why are you passing 6? I'm not getting this index 6. So index out of range. Index is out of range. Yes, that is obvious because pop has only 5 values. So that's why I am using what? I am using -1.
Normalize.
So 6 minus 1 is 5. 5 is matching with this. So it is popping out the last value. I hope it is clear now.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yep. Thanks.
So like this, this is the way you can pop out as the last value. When you are popping it out, you are popping the last value. Okay. You can also pop the index value. Okay. You can pass certain index and you can pop that value as well. Okay. So you just pass the index value like the way we have passed it over here. You can pass the index value and you can pop. So I popped out science. Okay. I popped out science. Now, if I just want to see what is the exact list looks like, data engineering course 1, 2, 3. Cool. Next is this is basically the Python list. Okay. Now I'm just punching little bit advanced. Okay, because there are a lot more things to cover. Okay, and you can I have shown you those different sites from where you can actually get into more this smaller detailing. These are very smaller detailing. Okay, next is let me go to list. Now eventually list has multiple different functions, which is very fundamental, like list 1 dot length. I want to see what is the length of the list. Length of the list is 4. Okay, next is this is already we have explored. What are the different you can say list like loops. Okay, so for an example, I want to run a loop from this list. So for I in list 1, if I do this, then individual value of list will come out, like data engineering course, like that. One value will come out. So this is also feasible. So you can run a loop in list, so you will get individual values. Colon print I. So you will get the individual values. Okay, data engineering course 1, 2, 3. Next is for I in list. If you use range of list 1 dot length. Now what I'm doing here is I'm running the loop based upon the list length rather than pulling one value. I will run the loop for that many times. Okay, the total number of list length is how much? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 values are there, right? So rather than pulling one value each time, I can run the values in range. Okay. Just a minute. And colon print type. This will give me 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I can do like this: list 1 bracket of I. So I'm taking one index value. Okay, I'm calculating the range of the list, taking that index value and passing it over here. So it is also giving me the same thing, data engineering course. Okay, but written in a quite different way. Here we are accessing the direct values. Here we are not accessing the direct value. We are first passing through a range of length, means list length. So list length is 4. So range of, now this again gets into a different way. You can take the range within, you can, when you are passing a range value, you can take it in some range as well, like 1 is to this. Okay, so sorry, not h2, comma. So you can see data got missed because I purposely did that. Ranges start from 0. So 1, I have started from 1. So that's why I purposely missed, I skipped that particular index value and then I passed 1 directly. So that's why engineering course 1, 2, 3. So like that. So range is used in case if you don't want to access the direct value of this list, but you want to access as many times as the list values are. Getting my point? If you don't want to access the direct value of the list, but you want to do some operation and you want to kind of access as many as those operations. Okay, so that is what is your list length.
Hello.
Sorry, guys, I was speaking on my mistake. So,
Hello.
Any questions?
Yeah, this number 67, there you written this list 1, then double quotes. That what is the purpose of that we are giving there?
This one?
Yeah.
Colon, as I mentioned, that
Okay.
you have a specific condition, and after every condition you need to write colon. Like you need, like in other programming language, we put braces inside the braces. So what we are stating here is inside this condition, if we want to build any logic, we can write it over. This logic, this print I only works for this condition. So that's what colon is making a differentiator. And then once you apply colon, there is an indent. Okay. And this indent says that this print I will not work somewhere else, will only work for this particular condition for I in this one. Getting my point?
Thank you.
So colon means it's basically nothing but I'm stating that this is the condition, and after this, any logic, if I want to build it, I can build it. That's what is your colon stating here. Next is, apart from for loop, there is another loop which is known as while loop. Now, there is a difference between these two kinds of loops. Okay, for loop is you are beginning with condition. Okay, then there are multiple type of loops. Okay, so while loop, then you have do while loop. Okay, nested loops are there, which I will show you in which way. But there is a difference between for loop and while loop. Okay, the number of iterations that you are doing in for loop, okay, you are not aware of that, what that up to how many times you need to do that iteration for I in X. Okay, so one by one that I values keeps on changing, and one by one the values are coming. Okay, but in terms of while loop, okay, you are providing the condition first. It is like this one. Here I am telling that range of 1 comma list dot length. Okay, a range of I in for I in range of 0 to that length of that list. So here I am passing certain condition over it. Now this condition is what I am printing here. Okay, so when you are, that's the difference, but fundamentally everything looks same. When you are passing some condition in while loop, okay, it will keep on iterating until the condition is meeting. It will stop when the condition is not meeting, it will stop. Eventually in for loop also you can do the same thing, but the loop will go to that value, and inside this colon, whatever logic you build over there, it will go and start. But in while loop, what happens? You are checking the condition at the beginning, and then you are passing it. Let me write a while loop, then only you will understand. So let's say list 1 is already present, right? So while I is less than length of, let's say, list 1. Print list 1 of I, and I equal to I plus 1. So what is telling? If I is less than list 1, okay, so length of list 1 is how much? 1 2 3 4. 4 is my length of list. Okay, print list 1. Okay, so I am printing list 1 of I. Okay, so if I value is less than this, so let me increase, make the I value 0 at the beginning. So now you can see data engineering course and 1 2 3. So what is happening here is I equal to 0, starting with 0. 0 is less than 4, yes, then print it. 0 equal to 0 plus 1. Now I value is 1. 1 is less than 4, yes, then print it. I equal to I plus 1. 1 equal to 1 plus 1, which is 2, right? So 2 is less than 4, yes, print it. Then 2 equal to 2 plus 1, which is 3. 3 is less than 4, yes, print it. It will print. So like that, you are printing until unless the condition is matching. Then 3 equal to 3 plus 1. 4 is less than 4. 4 is less than 4. No, it is not. Okay. So in that case, you won't print it. Your loop will stop over there. If you want to print it, then you can make it equivalent, less than equal to. 4 less than equal to 4, then the condition will match. Yes, 4 is equivalent to 4. Condition is matching, you are printing it. Is it clear, or any doubts, anybody?
I'm trying this line number 70, but I'm getting an error only. I couldn't understand what is the issue. The
Okay.
list object has no attributes, something once again.
Underscore, 2 underscore should be there.
This one double?
Double, yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
So this is called as while loop. Okay, means first you are checking the condition, then you are entering. Same thing if you want to do in for loop, for I in range of 0 to length of the list. If I is less than length of list 1, then only print list 1 of I. Okay, else break means if the condition doesn't match, break. I equal to I plus 1. So you keep on doing the same thing, you have done the same thing, but can you feel the fundamental difference here? The difference over here is you are checking the condition, we are doing the getting the same result because we have done the same thing. But what extra we have done in this for loop? Last iteration is repeated once, because see over here the condition is not matching, it doesn't allow you to enter here. Here what is happening? Condition is matching once you enter into the loop. Once you enter into the loop, condition is matching. So it is stopping before you enter into the loop. While you enter into the loop, it is stopping that match. Here it is not stopping. You are entering, else break. If the condition is not matching, then break that. Stop it whatever you have done, stop it. Stop over there. Okay. So this is basically the difference between two loops, for loop and while loop.
Rishabh, I have one question here. So in the for loop, right, the IV is automatically incremented by 1, right? Do we need to explicitly say
no,
that
explicitly it's not required? Yes, you are correct. In fact, I have given this to just explain the more. I have to add more explainability. I have done because every time the for loop will go and create a new. You don't have to explicitly maintain I equal to I.
Okay.
Just to compare this, I am using it, nothing else. But ideally, it will do it automatically.
Okay. Yeah. And one more thing, Rishabh. So in the for loop, right, when we are iterating through a list, we are saying for I in list 1, we are printing the each element in the list, right? Can we do like that in the while loop as well?
In this range?
Not in range, in general, like when we iterate through a list, right? We say like for I in list 1, print I, we say, right?
Okay,
so
while I in list, you can do it. You can do the same thing. See, conditioning, you can put any condition, no issues.
Okay.
You can do that.
Okay. Thank you. I will try.
Yeah. Next, another very interesting fact I am going to show you, and in our entire course, basically I am into habit of writing list comprehension. Okay. And this will be initially difficult for those who are beginners. For them, it might be a bit difficult to understand that list comprehension, but I am very fan of it. I believe that everybody will become fan while you spend some time. Okay. So what is list comprehension? Means writing everything in a single line, writing all the loops in a single line. In spite of writing this, okay, basically in industry, when we go for real-time industry, nobody prefer loops, to be honest. Okay, because billions of records are there, and if you use loop, then you are doing the most foolish job there. So that's how the industry looks, right? You all know we all want optimization, and one of the biggest part is without using loops, if you can solve a problem, okay, in any which way, using any mathematical expression, you can do it. But everybody in data engineering as well as data science, we never try to use loops. It is one of the kind of, you can say, in the coding practice, it is not mentioned. Why? Because it takes lot of iterations. Just imagine the iteration, billion of iterations. I'm doing it. It takes some time. So loops are very costly in terms of data structure. Okay. So everybody in industry try to avoid loops. Okay. So for avoiding loops, there are some subsidiary stuffs are there, which I will be explaining in while we go through. While you get accustomed with this programming language in few days, we'll come to an understanding of how can we cut short the utility of loops, because you are spending a lot of iteration, a lot of CPU cycle. And in fact, in the interview only, these are the questions which comes in our interview part, like how can you kind of remove loop? And this is kind of a regular question. Okay, without, you have to optimize your algorithm. Okay, you cannot go one by one, you cannot go in sequence, you have to search for a context, you cannot go sequence, you need to search in a some of the other way, but without giving any sequence, not sequential manner. That is the worst thing that we do it. List comprehension. Yes, this is very interesting part. So let me show you. List comprehension means for I in list 1. Okay, print I. Okay, so what we are getting over here, data engineering, list values all are null. There is a reason why it is null. Okay, because none, because we are not giving any reference to where to store these values or where should we combine these values. So that's why it is giving me none. But ideally, these are the iterations. These were the values. Okay, data engineering course and 1, 2, 3. So this is known as list comprehension. Okay, so it is the shortest technique. I have written the loop in a just single line. Okay, the syntax or to identify these kind of codes will be very often in the production environments. Okay, how do you identify what is the pattern? So for loop will always be at the end, and whatever conditioning and whatever the thing you want to put it, you can put it over here at the beginning. Okay, so loops will be always at the end. So that's what it is very important in terms of your optimized code. Like you don't need to write 10-20 lines, okay, just for explaining this single loop. Okay, you can just simply write in a single line, and you can also include the conditioning, right? So if I is less than list 1 dot underscore length, then print I. Okay, else break. Okay, I can skip this part because it's no longer required. Should not.
Do we have to use the range there, like for I in list of? range something?
Yes, that is required, but it is giving me syntax error, so it is not an issue of a range basically.
No, I think here in the statement you're comparing with the list item with the length. I think that is causing issue.
Yeah, so that will be logical error, right? This is basically my syntax error which we are getting. Oh, yeah, correct. Thanks. Range of list.
I think range of length, list one of length maybe. Yeah. And there is a star came off here.
Yep. Yeah, so this is basically a sequence issue, nothing else, because what we are doing is like we are this particular condition is dependent on this loop. So what I was primarily doing was I was putting the loop at the end and then I'm calling the condition first. Okay. So here what I did next is like took the loop first, okay, to iterate through and then passing on the context. Okay, but it's not necessary like every time, because generally it depends from your list comprehension is a bit complicated. Okay, here we are dealing with the indexes, that's why it is asking me to run the loop first and then go with the condition, but it could be in opposite way as well. Okay, if you are directly accessing the values, then something like this will happen. So let's say for I in list one, if let's say data, I'm just doing a match. If data in I if data in I or let's say if I is sorry, so you can see that here the condition is different. Okay, basically my loop is at the end, but I need to iterate, then only I will get into this if condition, right? If condition is inside the loop, it is not like it is outside the loop, but here we are not playing with the index, so index value is not creating a problem over here, which it was creating a problem here, but here it is not creating a problem. So for I in list, okay, so I value is having some value. Okay, over here what is happening is index is very important, so you cannot take the previous index value has to be reset. So that's why the for loop is at the beginning, and then I'm passing the condition, and then I'm printing it. Here, the for I in list 1, and then if I is not none, else this, and then print I. Okay. So it is not every time the same thing. Like working with list comprehension, it will take some time to kind of experience this, because once you have a clear understanding of the index related stuff, as well as like having some part of the hands-on, will slowly come to know about these things. Okay. So these are the part of your list. Okay. And coming back to, you can eventually sort the list. Okay. Like sort the list based upon alphabetical sorting. Like this is my data engineering course. So list 1, list 1 dot sort. Okay, so here what we have is like we have all the values in terms of, we have a mixed sense of value. Okay, so sorting needs the values. So what we get an error is type error. What does it mean? Like less than, not supported, in between of int and string. So it is comparing data with 1, 2, 3. That's why it is getting, is data less than 1, 2, 3, then less than, then 1, 2, 3 will be at the beginning. So over here, everything has to be in terms of. So similarly, what I will do is popping it list 1. Sorry. And now if I want to calculate list 1 dot, if I do the sorting, either you should have a same value, you should have all the values in string, or you should have all the values in you can see course data engineering, CDE. Okay, and if you have the values in numerical order, it will also sort in numerical. And if you want to sort in a ascending, descending, there are both ways, right? If you want to reverse it, so you can write reverse is equal to true. Engineering data course. Now, I have shown a couple of examples like list method, list length, and all. There are many such things. Okay, you can eventually go and count. Okay, how many numbers are there? Okay, how many number of values are there? List dot index is also there. Okay, list dot index. Basically, it tells you how many, what is the index value, okay, of the element that you want. Okay. So let me show you. Let's say data. It tells me what is the index value of my data. Sorry, I have used a square bracket. Index of cost. So its position is 1. Okay. So like this, there are list methods as well. Okay, you can eventually count as well how many elements are present. Okay, so list dot count. So primarily, you can do a lot more things with list. Okay, you can. There are many things which I will show you. Appending to list. then you can you actually convert everything into list, and then you pass with any mathematical functions or equations, whatever you want. Okay. So that is what is very important. Okay. So here you can see the value is 1 means it has occurred once. If you have twice, then it will show 2 times data has occurred, or 3 times. So these are some fundamentals of list. So there are few concepts left out, which we will again discuss tomorrow, which is dictionary, tuple, and all. So these are some few concepts, and then we will jump into external libraries. Any questions, anybody?
Bishop, I have 2 questions. One, this loop functions are a little tricky. I mean, how to get familiarized?
So better you can ignore these 2 things. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, as of now, these are list comprehensions. Okay, you can only focus into this part. Okay, this part. Okay, this is the easiest way to kind of learn. Okay, so for you have to give the kind of range from where you are pulling the information, and then if you are putting a condition, and whatever the logic you want to write it, you can write it over here and end that loop. See, I'll try to use almost everything. This is increment operator that in other programming language is also there, but in Python it is not mandatory, automatically happens. But I have shown it over here just to understand fundamentally. Then break means stop over there. If your condition is not matching, stop over there. There is no else. So you can just fundamentally do some more exercise on this. Okay, and just refer to this notebook. I will be sharing it immediately so that you can refer this notebook. And string plus list operations. Okay. Let me upload it over here in Slack. So you just need to practice a few bit of time. Okay, you will get familiarized. Just few practice will help you.
Okay, so while we practice, right, if I have some doubt, I can accumulate my doubts, and then I can ask you.
Group, yeah, in the WhatsApp group, just ping it, whatever error you get. I will try to keep myself active as much as possible.
All right.
Anybody, any question, put it on WhatsApp group. Because Slack will be difficult for me to kind of comment or to kind of come and visit and see here. But WhatsApp, it will be there. I might take some time to respond because I will be in middle of many things, but I will respond, no issues. Cool. Any questions? Anybody?
So one request is, like, while you're taking up, right, so also just share your real-time experience, like how, like a scenario, everyday scenario, like how you're encountering.
Basically, these are very basic. So
I know. So while you're getting advanced, right, I know that the scenario can come in, but just on a very high level, just share your scenarios, so it will be helpful.
Absolutely. In fact, I will be showing what projects where I am working in, and in real time how the industry is working in. What I am working, I might give you some of them to get it solved, so that you can learn the real time exposure of what is happening.
Thank you.
Yeah. So cool then. Thanks everyone. I think over to you, Kunal, if you want anything to convey or